What do President Obama and Mitt Romney need to accomplish in tonight's debate? Also, what exactly is Hillary Clinton taking responsibility for? Welcome to Opinion Journal Live. I'm Jason Riley, and my first guest is Rob Pollock, a member of the Journal's editorial board, to discuss tonight's debate. Welcome, Rob. So the conventional wisdom is that debates rarely matter in presidential elections, that voters aren't particularly influenced by them. But could this year be an exception to that rule, Rob?
Well, I think, if you look back to a sort of comparable year when you had a similarly bad economy, 1980, that is, the Carter-Reagan debates, they definitely mattered. And how did they matter? Well, Reagan had been portrayed as some kind of evil right-winger, in a similar way that Romney has been portrayed. Sure. And Reagan got up on the stage, and Jimmy threw an accusation at him, and Reagan kind of laughed and said, "There you go again, Jimmy." Yeah. And everyone sort of looks back at that and says, that was the moment that changed that election. Yeah. I don't think that in the first debate this time around you had a similar one-liner from Mitt, but he kind of passed the threshold test in the same way, which is you had an unpopular president, and voters wanted to see if the challenger was a normal guy or not, and I think Mitt proved himself to be a normal guy.
Okay. Now the polls are tightening. Obama got whipped in that first debate. How much pressure is the president under tonight?
I think he's under a lot of pressure because, look, when you're the incumbent, you have to. If you don't have a record to point to, you've got a problem. Okay. And what has Obama defaulted to? He's defaulted to painting Romney as a bad guy who wants to cut PBS funding, get rid of Big Bird, do all these sort of unreasonable and weird things that nobody really believes after seeing the first debate that Romney wants to do. Yeah.
That's quite amazing that they made that a theme for a few days of the Obama campaign, Big Bird. What about tonight's format, though? We know that the president has to be aggressive. Will it be difficult to be aggressive in a town hall format where the audience is asking questions?
Well, again, I think it's difficult for a president to be aggressive because an incumbent president should be running on a record. So what's he going to go out? Again, it's very hard for him to go out there and say, hey, Mitt, these plans that nobody really knows about that you have, they're going to ruin the economy when the economy is not so great already. I mean, that's a very hard sell for him to make. He would be in a much better position if he had something to point to where he could say definitively, I've improved X or Y.
Okay. The moderators of both the presidential debate that already occurred and the VP debate last week have received a lot of attention this year. Tonight's debate, moderator Candy Crowley of CNN made some news when she announced that what kinds of follow-up questions she might ask after the audience members speak. What do you make of all this in terms of how the moderators have been doing?
Well, here's, I think, the big misconception about moderators. I don't think that they exist to poke holes themselves in the arguments of candidates. I mean, basically, you heard a lot of Democrats complain after the first debate that Jim Lehrer, didn't follow up and he didn't hit Romney on this. And this is not the moderator's job. The job of the moderator is to let the candidates debate. It's not to ask questions on behalf of people in the audience who think that the guy got away on some issue.
Okay. But we do know that politicians will filibuster if you let them, or they won't answer the question if you let. You've interviewed a fair number of politicians who duck and dodge questions they don't want to answer. Does the moderator play a role in making sure people answer the question and keeping the conversation moving along so that enough topics are covered?
I think in a presidential debate, mainly voters want to hear from the candidates. So the main role of the moderator is to keep the conversation moving along. I've got no problem if the moderator wants to ask one follow-up or he thinks a candidate has really avoided a question. But after that, you just drop it. You let voters make their choice on whether the candidate has answered or not. I mean, it's not a game of gotcha.
You certainly don't want to be the story coming out of the debate if you're the moderator. If you are, you probably haven't done your job.